Welcome to the Chamber's Candidate Interview Series. I'm Christy Moore, and I serve as the president of the Dawson County Chamber of Commerce. On June 9th, the primary election will be held in Georgia, and early voting begins May 18th. In Dawson County, there are many local elections on the ballot. You may always view your sample ballot and polling location by visiting mvp.sos.ga.gov. One of the main areas of focus of our Chamber's strategic plan is advocacy. While we would typically host a forum for all our candidates, due to the current pandemic and out of an abundance of caution that prioritizes the health and safety of the candidates and our staff, we are hosting in-depth interviews instead. All candidates who are running for an office for which more than one candidate is running were invited to be interviewed. As a nonpartisan organization, we take seriously our role to promote issues of benefit to our businesses and community, as well as support the promotion of information about upcoming elections. The Chamber does not endorse a particular party or particular candidates. We have worked diligently to ensure that these candidate interviews are fair to participants and informative to our members and audience. Candidates were not given the questions prior to being interviewed. Questions were submitted by Chamber members and were predetermined by the Chamber's Advocacy Committee. Similar to a forum, each candidate will be given 3 minutes to give an opening statement, and will have 2 minutes to answer each question. Today, I am joined by Renee Duren, who is running for the office of County Commission Chair. Renee, would you like to kick us off with your opening statement?
Sure. Christy, thank you for doing this. I know it's unconventional, but I hope it's helpful to the citizens, so thank you. Hi, I'm Renee Duren, and I'm running for chairman of the Dawson County Board of Commissioners. I've been married to my husband, Michael, for almost 13 years now. We have a 5-year-old son named Luke, and we love being a part of this community. We're active members of Amicalola Baptist Church. I'm a member of the Dawsonville Civitan Club, as well as the Dawson County Republican Party. And since last November, I've been listening to citizens, and what I'm hearing from them is that they're concerned about the rate of growth, and they want a government that is open, honest, fiscally responsible, and accountable to the citizens. It's time that we listen to them, and I look forward to addressing the issues that matter most to them.
Thank you, Renee, and thank you for joining us today. We'll start off with a question of why do you want to be chairman?
Well, simply put, I want to be chairman because I think with the citizens, we can make a difference, that I can make a difference by bringing the citizens' voice to the board and addressing all of the things that I just listed. And that's really why. I mean, I started research last year around a large development, and then that led to more research, and then I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed learning about the county, and residents started coming to me and asking me if I would do more than just research. So this is a way that I hope to make a difference.
Absolutely. Well, share with us your view of the role of the commission chairman in a county manager form of government.
Sure. And that's an interesting question because in the county manager form of government, there are only 2 employees that answer directly to the chairman, and that's the county manager and the county clerk. And some people don't realize that. But I see my role as county commission chair as leading the board, communicating with every member that's on the board, and working hard to compromise and to make this county what the citizens truly want it to look like. And that's how I see that role.
Absolutely. What is your overall vision for Dawson County?
So I would say first, it's not my vision, it's the citizens' vision that I'm concerned about. And from what I've heard, citizens love the small town, rural feel of Dawson County, the sense of community here. And so that's something, personally, I love that as well. I mean, that's one of the things that drew me to Dawson County. but ultimately, that is not about me or my vision. That's about the citizens of Dawson County's vision. Thank you.
Absolutely. Before the recent pandemic, the sales tax revenue numbers for 2020 were higher than any year in our county's history. We now anticipate that the 2021 budget will be flat or slightly decreased from the 2020 budget. In looking over the county's budget, do you feel there are areas where spending could be improved? If yes, what areas would that be, and what improvements would you suggest?
Sure. I believe that we're definitely going to have to make some tough decisions and some cuts as well. Given last year, our planned expenditures exceeded the projected revenues, and we had to balance the budget with part of by using some of our reserves. So I think we probably need to go ahead and look at the budget right now and look at cuts and what we can do for the rest of 2020. But moving forward to 2021, number one priority for me is the safety and well-being of the citizens of Dawson County. So that is one area that I would not cut. In regard to where I would cut, I think, to be fair, I would need to sit down with department heads. As you can imagine, that's not really an option available to me right now. But if elected, that's what I would do. I would sit down with department heads and challenge them. Where can we cut? Where can we save? Because they do a really good job of sticking within the budget that they're allotted. So I think that they would be up for that challenge. And that's one place that I would start.
Absolutely. Well, one of the attributes that makes Dawson County competitive in attracting both businesses and residents is our low millage rate. How do you intend to provide enhanced services to a growing population while maintaining that competitive advantage?
Yes, that's a tough one because while I like the low millage rate and I do not want to increase that, I think the other option would be to look at cuts, because we do need to live within our means, just like in our own household, we have to live within our means. So I would say we need to look, if we don't want to look at increasing revenue through property tax, for example, then we definitely need to look at cutting spending. Because sales tax, of course, has already dropped in the last weeks or probably a month or more. So we definitely can't rely on that consistently. So I would say we would need to focus on cuts, because I'm definitely not for more taxes.
Absolutely. Well, retail makes up the largest sector of the Dawson County economy. What role do you believe Dawson County government should play in supporting the diversification of our local economy?
Sure. So I think leaving that in the hands of the development authority. That is not something I think the board needs to personally take on. I am not in favor of things such as tax abatements. That's my personal opinion. But I think the development authority over the last few years has really done some good things, and I think that we can trust them to move forward and work in ways without tax abatements, for example, work with other ways to entice different industries to Dawson County.
Alrighty, well, we know that Dawson County businesses pay or generate the majority of the county budget that funds the local services that we all need but also enjoy. So tell us your plan and vision to make it easier to build and expand business in Dawson County.
Again, I don't see that as my role as chairman. I think that some business owners that I've spoken with, small business owners, are concerned about regulations and things that impede them from being successful. So I would be open to looking at the regulations and codes and things like that, along with feedback from business owners and citizens alike, to look at that and see if we could help in that way. But that is, I think, for me, where the role of our government stops.
Absolutely.
But on that point, I did just want to add, yes, thank you, business owners, because their revenue, it does it does pay for the additional cost that residential brings. So yes, thank you, business owners, and that is something that I'm certainly mindful of.
Absolutely. Well, kind of going off of that, based on the state's 2018 numbers, for every dollar that our chamber expended for tourism marketing and support, Dawson County received $4 in local tax revenues, and $138 was invested in the local economy. So given that tourism is an additional sector that's really important to our local economy, are you committed to continuing to dedicate 6% of the hotel motel tax to tourism marketing? And do you have other ideas for supporting local tourism?
So yes, something that I learned I'd say maybe a year ago, is that the hotel motel tax, so in the state of Georgia, if your county or municipality accepts or levies motel hotel tax, then that needs to go back to fund tourism. So in Dawson County, instead of hiring additional staff to do that, that money goes to the chamber, and then a department within the chamber handles promoting tourism in a variety of ways. I just think this county has so much to offer, and I want to share that with everybody. And so I definitely want to promote tourism. I am a huge fan of agritourism specifically, but all tourism. And so, yes, I would be in favor of continuing that partnership with the chamber. I personally think that's the most cost-effective way to do that.
Thank you for that. We know that at any given time, a community is doing one of two things. It's either growing or shrinking. And with the expectation of growth in Dawson County, how do you plan to balance the desire of our community to maintain a high quality of life with the ideal and often legal requirement of prioritizing property rights?
Yes. Well, I look at that. I think we should shift that to the future land use plan. I think we need to develop a future land use plan that is representative of the citizens' vision for the county. And then I think we need to stick by that plan. I think that's the most fair way, whether you're an investor, a developer, or an individual homeowner. I think that we should be able to look at the future land use plan and have an expectation of what could happen to the property adjacent to us in the next 5 years. And so those are my thoughts on that. I value property rights. I also value taxpayers' dollars. And unfortunately, a lot of development at a fast rate will cause us more expenses. So I'm mindful of that as well. I'm for responsible growth, and I think that tweaking the future land use plan and then sticking to it will remedy that.
Absolutely. And as a follow-up to that, how will you deal with zonings that are the result of decisions of past commissions?
That's a great question. So currently in our land use resolution, some of the zoning, categories, I guess you could say, specifically residential plan community and comprehensive plan community. Both of those have a clause that will allow the county to take steps to revert that back to previous zoning. The landowner would be notified, and they would be able to come and obviously appeal that, and if they wanted. But I think that is something that we definitely need to look at, because the idea of, oh, well, that was passed, years ago, we can't do anything about that. That's frustrating to me as a citizen when I know in our ordinances, in some cases, we can do something about that. And just further on that, I'm not for speculative zoning. And I think that's where we usually run into this issue. So it's not even the landowner applying to rezone, it's someone that is interested in purchasing the property, but they want it rezoned first. And that sometimes falls through. And that's what happened to a lot of these properties around 2007, 2008.
Gotcha. Well, are you in support of T-SPLOS, which is the new 1-cent tax that is on the ballot this June to support transportation? And if not, how do you propose to obtain funding for the necessary road improvements needed in the county?
Yes. So what I will say about T-SPLOST is that when I go and vote, that will be my personal opportunity to cast my vote about T-SPLOST. I would just encourage citizens to do the research, look at the projects that are on the list. One thing that concerns me is the large slush fund that is included in there. So I would like more specifics on where that money would go. But with that said, we have a lot of transportation improvements that need to take place, and that we'll have to pay for it, in some way. And keep in mind, we do have SLOSS 6, which it will end next year, and we could continue that if voters choose to do so, and that would provide also funding for transportation improvements. But I would say do your research. I don't really want to say, I can see the pros and cons, but I really don't feel good about encouraging people one way or another, because I trust the great citizens of Dawson County to do the research and make that decision.
I understand. Advocates of consolidated government purport the efficiency of a combined government. Would you favor the consolidation of our city and county governments? Why or why not?
So I think there are a lot of unknowns with that. And I think also that would have to go to the state level first, and then first the city and the county would have to agree on that. Again, I think this is something we all need to research and look at the details. I have not looked into it enough personally because there's so many other issues that need to be addressed, that I haven't really looked into the details of that. So I don't like to speak on things that I'm not really educated on yet. So I really don't want to speak to that one way or another, but I do think there are a lot of steps that go into that before that could even go to the people on the ballot. So.
Absolutely. How would you propose to increase communication and transparency between the Board of Commissioners and the citizens? And please particularly address how you would improve engagement with the 50 and younger crowd who is often too busy working and raising families to attend meetings.
Yes. So one thing that I would like to do if elected is a monthly town hall style meeting, so that citizens could come and get updates, they could ask questions, they could just know what's going on. I don't know how that will go. I mean, Saturdays are busy too. I mean, as a mom of a 5-year-old, I know families are busy and it's tough, but I would like to do that. And if there's a good response, even if 5 people show up, I'll continue doing it. But if consistently no one shows up, I will probably take the hint.
Definitely understand. Well, as we come to a close, please share with us anything you feel we have not addressed as you give us your closing thoughts and statement.
Okay, thank you. I would be honored to serve you as your chairman. I have the desire and ability to get to the bottom of issues, and I would do my homework on everything that comes before the board. And I ask you for your support and for your vote on June 9th, and together we can make a difference.
Well, we really appreciate you spending this time with us, Renee, and we encourage everyone to watch this series of candidate interviews, which you'll be able to find on social media as well as the Chamber's YouTube page.